Transformers Generation 2. In late 1992 into 1993, this was Hasbro's attempt to revitalize the line with new colors and eventually new figures. But though we talk about Generation 2 quite a bit, and there were some really cool figures that came out of it, there were some that, well, even Leo knows, didn't quite make it to store shelves. Some of them were concept art, some of them made it to the prototype stage, some of them actually were packaged and released in very limited quantities in certain parts of the country. But recently, and some not so recently, Hasbro has paid homage to these unreleased G2 figures. So if they weren't released in G2, are they truly G2 figures? Hasbro thinks so. I don't mind them, but it's as if they never existed. Now, before I go too much further, I do want to thank our sponsor of this video, Toy Hacks. They have amazing decals that can upgrade your G1s and your G2s and really glow up the later lines. Like, check out this Devastator over here. It's the Studio Series, and man, it just adds a little bit of oomph. Plus, they have an armory and backdrops. Go to Toy Hacks for all your decal needs. Check them out at toyhacks.com. But we are here to talk about G2s that didn't hit most store shelves, but now we've got brand new toy versions of them. What do you think, Leo? So if you're new to the channel, this is Leo, aka Leo Prime. I'm Captain Kyle. Welcome aboard. Been watching for a while, you might have seen Leo before, and you've probably seen me because I'm in pretty much every video just about. Thanks for coming back. Now let's get into some G2s. So the first one I want to talk about is the G2 Universe Jazz, sometimes called Creamsicle Jazz, because he is so orange. Yes, this Jazz was never released in G2. It got to the concept stage and was supposed to be released in 1995, but instead in 2023, we had this Toxitron collection of different Transformers, including this concept Jazz. That's not the first time that Hasbro has put out concepts as toys. They did that with some of the stuff from the Bumblebee movie, and apparently Transformers Reactivate. That didn't activate. But let's break this one out. Now, yes, I've had this for just about 3 years, and I hadn't taken him out yet. He wasn't a priority. And Leo is going to go off and see what the other cats are doing, because there's a bunch of other ones around here. Who knows, another one might make an appearance. For those of you concerned about Sky, I know she hasn't been in a video for a while, but right now I think she's trying to avoid waking one of the other cats that she doesn't really get along with. So we've had some changing dynamics. Shitty piece of paper. Jennifer appreciates that. So there's been some changing dynamics around the house. So unfortunately, she has decided not to grace us with her presence as she used to, but hopefully that will change. Things change. All right, don't need the box. I'm going to clip these off of Jazz. These are the old and short-lived paper ties, not the plastic ones. Still a pain, but he actually has 3 different weapons. And to be honest, I don't remember if these 3 different weapons were part of the other Jazzes. I just haven't looked. But I do know that the original Jazz, the original G2 Jazz, had some extra weapons that the G1 did not. So if all these weapons were not part of the other versions of this mold of Jazz, then that's okay. I believe this mold was released maybe in Siege? Actually, no. This is the Studio Series mold, the Studio Series 86 mold, that also was used for Generation Select 5-pack and even in the Dramatic Capture Autobot HQ set. It's a good mold, better than some Jazz molds that we've had in the past. And I'm not going to go through a ton of... Okay, I'm going to go quickly through the posability just in case you haven't seen my other videos. But just looking at the deco, he is super orange. I have to wonder if in going into 1995, if Hasbro was like, well, in Europe, they have some really, really friggin' weird colors. Why don't we do that? I don't know if you've seen the G2 Sparkabots or the Firecons or just a lot of the G2 European stuff. Not exactly blending in. And so an orange Porsche-style car would definitely not blend in. Now, the symbol that he has on his chest appears to be the G2 Autobot symbol, which is good because, as you saw with just straight-up G2s that came out and then they made them later on, not all of them had the G2 symbols. So I'm kind of glad that they went for it with this one. But he's orange and kind of darker orange, very orange, and he's got some yellow in there. His face is yellow. Now, weapons-wise, unlike his previous G2 release, which was way back in 2012, this one has a bunch of extra weapons, though I'm not sure what you can do with all of them at once. I don't know if some of these weapons can merge together. Could probably store one on his back for storage. And he doesn't have speakers, which was definitely in the 2012 version and the Generations line, or Reveal the Shield. It gets so hard to keep track of all these sublines, but I try. Yeah, it doesn't really show a way for him to use all the weapons at once, so we won't. But if you prefer for him to use weapons that match his coloration a little bit more, there you go, you got two of them. This one is a lot more like his original coloration of weapon, though the original, of course, being chrome. But very, very quickly, because I've done this guy before, that didn't sound right. I reviewed this guy before. Shut up, Logan. Full toes up, Jean-Claude Van Damme, no problem. Extremely generous ankle swivels. In fact, they can go so far out that he can't even spread his legs far enough to use them to their full extent. Now, even though he can do a full toes up Jean-Claude Van Damme, the split part, because of the way his upper thighs are, doesn't necessarily happen. He kicks forward, he kicks back, not that high. Side kick, he can do pretty well. Bends at the knee, though be careful because it's kind of a double jointed knee. But when he bends at the knee, he can really bend it over. And it does swivel, but you have to kind of move it to the side to get it to swivel all the way around. So just keep that in mind. And this is kind of stiff. Shut up, Logan. Now what's interesting is if you turn the inner part of the leg all the way around, it doesn't allow you to put the leg straight down. So that is interesting. So don't do that. It would be my suggestion. Twists at the waist all the way around. Arms can go all the way around. Bends at the elbow, has a swivel. Arms go out to the side, even a little higher because he's got kind of mobile armpits. Weird thing. And his head twists all the way around. So overall, a very posable figure, even if they should have named him Traffic Cone. Come on. Not so much into music as he is in causing delays on your way to work. But all right, let's get him into his vehicle mode. So there he is, and as a car, I mean, he's flashy, definitely. Doesn't look quite as bad because he's got the rims. Rims make a difference. Now you could put any of the weapons on top. I am not sure, again, why he had so many weapons. Maybe it, again, is an homage to the fact that G2 had shitloads of weapons. And yes, I use instructions. It's been a while since I've transformed this guy. But these really are hound weapons. So this is the only one that really belongs to him still. A very interesting homage to a G2 that did not exist. Kind of like Michael Knight, doesn't exist. All right, the next one I have to show you, I don't have it in the box, but it is G2 Cloud Cover. Now this, again, is an homage to a toy that apparently there were some prototypes. There's been pictures. I've never seen one, and getting a prototype, you pretty much had to know someone at Hasbro. Hasbro, send me some prototypes, that'd be really cool. But he wasn't even supposed to be Cloud Cover in G2. He was supposed to be, well, we don't know what he was supposed to be. There are some people who says he was the Navy Ramjet. There's no actual proof that that is what he was going to be called. There was also supposed to be a jungle camo Starscream, or at least using the Starscream mold. Could have been a different Seeker. Could have been, you know, Coward Wing. I don't know. Camo kind of makes sense for Starscream in the cartoon because he was always depicted as a coward, which, again, didn't get a fair shake. That's not what Bob Budiansky wrote. Arrogant, yes. Stupid, cowardly, no. But I do like the cover. Who doesn't like getting more? Just more Seekers. I mean, I saw this guy on the shelves for quite some time at Walmart, and I don't understand it, because if I had an opportunity to get another Seeker, which obviously I did, I got another Seeker. So this came out in 2023. This was, again, one of the 1995 things that did not come to fruition, and then we ended up getting Beast Wars, which definitely not complaining. Love Beast Wars. And without Beast Wars, we wouldn't have Transformers today, because G2 unfortunately wasn't cutting it, wasn't bringing in the kids, and there weren't enough adult collectors at that time to really keep everything going. Most of the people who enjoyed the series in 1984 were now in their late teens, and some of them in their early 20s might have been concentrating on, you know, other activities, let's just say. Not all of them, but a lot of them might have been. So I do like Cloud Cover, and just like all the Earthrise style Seekers, he's pretty cool. Jean-Claude Van Damme, pretty difficult to do, not really a Seeker thing. but he did have some decent ankle swivels. Now, if you're wondering why, even though this is out of the package, why it's a little stiff to move, a lot of times I don't have time to really mess with these Transformers as much as I'd like to, because new ones are coming out, I gotta do videos, and I got another channel, and I got a day job, and I got cats to take care of. But this guy can kick forward. Kicking back, he's got this plate here that doesn't really allow much of that. Side kick, a decently high one. Now, if you just watch my other G2 video and you're like, why are you doing all the possibility because you just did G2 Ramjet? Well, that's because not everyone saw that. Bends at the knee, and I need to make sure I have his knees properly plugged in. But yeah, I'm glad they gave him a different name, though Cloud Cover doesn't exactly instill fear. He does have swiveling, but again, I don't think you can do it straight up and down, not just because of the structure of his thighs, but because the wings get in the way. Twisting at the waist doesn't go for these guys, but his arm can go all the way around as long as you kind of tilt it to avoid this piece here. Bends at the elbow, swivels, arm go out to the side. Yes, I took his weapons off, just makes it easier, but they are cool weapons. Fists don't twist, but he can kind of freak you out by doing that. I mean, that looks painful. The head, of course, turns all the way around. So yeah, a cool new secret. And he's even got these stickers. Well, I don't know if they're painted or stickers in here, but these on the originals were very difficult to put in. However, if you want to enhance them even more, know where to go. All right, let's get him transformed. I'm not going to go through all the transformation steps with this guy just because they'll resub if you watched my other G2 video. And if you didn't, what are you waiting for? I just realized I didn't measure Jazz, who is 4 3/4 inches in vehicle mode, nor did I do a roll test, which doesn't do that well. Robot mode, look at him. Now, Cloud Cover in jet mode is 8 3/4 inches long. In robot mode, he's about 7 inches tall to his air intakes. I just learned that from a comment that they're air intakes. Did I know that off the top of my head? No, but not the air intake thing, the 7 inches thing. Doesn't sound right. G2 symbols on his wings, which is very cool. And there he is with his weapons. An awesome new seeker based on the Navy, potentially Ramjet G2 that never actually came out. Again, not complaining. I love more Transformers. As Shadowstrip said, millions of Transformers in Cybertron. I don't think that was even close to his voice, but get the point. There's a lot of them. This one I also don't have in the box because I took it out a while ago. It is the yellow Grimlock. Yes, they were going to in 1995. Again, 1995, that was a tough year for a lot of people. But during G2, there was a gray Grimlock that was put out, looked very similar to the original. There was a blue one, there was a turquoise one. From what people have said, the turquoise one was a shading error. They were going for blue, and the batch came over and it was in turquoise, and so they just released it. And then when they got the blue ones, they just released those. But apparently that inspired them to say, hey, let's do another color. So this is kind of that tiger stripe, yellow and teal version of Grimlock. And if you don't have this one, which is from the Studio Series mold, and he's like 8 3/4 inches tall. And he's been used for the Shattered Glass, this mold. It's been used for the G2 Blue, which actually did come out. And also it was used for the comic version. So this mold's been used a lot. So again, if you haven't seen this mold in use, and he just comes with his gun, not the sword. Now the G2s came with the gun and the sword, but not the missile launcher that the original G1 came with. Little trivia for you in case you didn't already know that, which most of you guys probably did, but just in case. But yes, he can do a full Jean-Claude Van Damme. He's got extremely generous ankle swivels, like way too generous. Most of the Dinobots have way too generous, but you can still put him in some dynamic poses. He can kick forward and back, though if you're not careful, you might move his dino head. Side kick, split side kick, bends at the knee very nicely. He swivels all the way around, twists at the waist, and if you flip back his wings, because Red Bull gave him some wing, you can pretty much put the arms all the way around. Just gotta move them out slightly for that. Bends at the elbow, though it looks kind of funky. Swivels. The fists actually do twist all the way around. Arm can go out to the side, head turns, and you can open this up and put in a diagonal. No, you can't do that. On his back, there was room for the driver for his dyno mode. And his wings can go in various configurations, however you want to have them. You can have them way out, you can have them down low, again, flip them back, you can have them up like this, in case he wants to, pretend it's the 80s instead of being a 1995 homage. So there he is, the yellow Grimlock. one we never received, but, you know, there could have been. I shouldn't just call him yellow because he is kind of tiger striped, but I'm going to transform him real quick. So there is the tiger striped Grimlock in Dino mode. And from his feet to his head, I mean, obviously he's a little shorter. He's like 7 3/4 inches. Now, weapon storage, his gun goes on his back, not the most disguisey place. But then again, no one's going to look at this and say, that's a real dinosaur. You're not going to have, you know, welcome to Jurassic Park. Dude, that's so clearly a robot, you know. But I do have to say, I do like the way that the light, at least from my perspective, makes his neck kind of glow. But he's got jaws that open up quite wide. He's got these itty bitty and somewhat posable forearms that, again, he has an itch, a jock itch, can't scratch it. The legs go back and forth. They kind of bend backwards. If you really want to, you can always twist them, but it's supposed to necessarily be that way so you can hide the fists better. And yeah, that's about it. Proposability. Head can go up, so you could have him, you know, chasing a Jurassic Park Jeep, which they have one. That's a Transformer. I mean, they're on the same side, but, you know, Grimlock's been known to be ornery. So again, a 4th G2 color that we never got. But still, what if? What if I could go to an alternate universe where G2 continued through 1995, maybe even through the year 2000? What toys might we find in another universe where they were much more popular? I'll work on that. So, 3 of 5. The next one I just happen to have in the box. This is the Decepticon Shadowstrip. No, that is not some kind of stripper name. And a lot of people say this is supposed to be G2 Dragstrip. Well, either way, we never got this toy generally released. There were a few out there. The Hartmans had a set, and they sold it for ungodly amounts of money. But whether you consider this a new character, which some do, in fact, Hasbro considers this a new character, could be kind of like Alpha Bravo, you know, in Combiner Wars, kind of a replacement for Dragstrip after he, you know, lost a race. Or, you know, just like a stand-in, he apparently can merge, become part of Menasor, you know, the legacy version of Menasor. So we've had 3 of the new G2 unreleased colorations of Stunticons, if you consider this one of them, or 2. I don't know why we don't have a G2 coloration of Motormaster yet, or Wild Rider. Will they be coming during Age of Primes? Did they decide that the price point on Motormaster was a little too high and they didn't want to have a bunch of shelf-warming purple-ish Motormasters? I don't know. I'd love to get one, but maybe it's not in the cards. It's a shame, but you never know. They still could have plans, but this has never been opened. Now, of course, they opened up the Seeker and the Dinobot, but this one I was just kind of waiting to see if maybe there would be more G2 style Stunticons, even if this was not Dragstrip, even if it was like a cousin with a shitty piece of paper. But yeah, I didn't open it, and it sat, and it sat. And now I'm opening it up for you. All the mint and box collectors out there are like, no, don't do it, man. Too late. So there he is. He is in vehicle mode. So a lot of Transformers generally nowadays come in robot mode, but some do still come. Well, at least back in 2022 when this guy came out, some of them still came in vehicle mode. In fact, that whole Velocitron Speedia 500 collection, I think they were all pretty much in vehicle modes. Let's get his weapons out, which he has 2, amazingly just like this other Transformer, known as Dragstrip. Now what I'm noticing is they're the same side weapon. I don't think I'm going to be able to get it returned to Hasbro if that's not supposed to be the case. But looking at the pictures in here, it looks like they're supposed to be the same side weapon, and it's been too long since I've messed around with the Legacy Dragstrip for me to know offhand, so we'll just see how it works out. So, a cool looking black and gold version of, well, recolor of Dragstrip into Shadowstrip, and I like him. Roll test. Actually rolls pretty well. Better if it's going to be in the Speedia 500 thing, whatever that is. But yeah, he looks cool. Now they do call him G2 Universe. I'm wondering if there will be any symbols, because I am not seeing any Decepticon symbols on him thus far, but it could be hidden somewhere. We'll find out. But he's got the engine in gold. We don't have to worry about gold plastic syndrome anymore, thankfully. I like him. So let's get him into his robot mode. So there is Shadowstrip in his robot mode. Looks very cool. The 2 guns, I mean, they are the same side, but it doesn't look like that to really an issue. I think they can combine together. I don't know why. I don't remember if there was a reason for that, but he does look very cool. He's just a tad, maybe he's about 5¼ inches, and he's got some pretty good posability. He does a full Jean-Claude Van Damme, toes up, no problem. He does have uber generous ankle swivels that you'll never use. I hope you don't use them that much. And no, someone said that they wanted to see my collection with every single toy that could in the Jean-Claude Van Damme position, and that's not happening there. I don't have enough space just having them standing. Need more shelves, need more rooms, need another house. But he can kick forward and back very high. Side kick, split side kick, bends at the knee, swivels around, twists at the waist, probably also comes apart. We won't talk about that because we're not going to merge him with anyone right now. But arm goes all the way around, goes off to the side, bends at the elbow, swivels. Now, if you're swiveling and the gun is in his hand, the wheels are going to get in the way. But he could swivel farther, I can tell you. I can tell without a problem. And his head turns around. Unfortunately, when you have large hands and big fingers, shut up, Logan. It's not so easy to do that without pushing things out of place. But yeah, a cool looking toy that we never got. Again, if you consider him drag strip, we never got it in general retail. If you consider it shadow strip, then we never got him at all. Just pulled him out of the air, made him up. But our final one is from 2012. Now, I actually mentioned this when I was showing the G2 Jazz, not the orange one, but the one from 2012 that came with him, plus a Motor Breath Motormaster and a Thundercracker. Both Motor Breath and Thundercracker were very small, legend size. But this is Combat Hero Optimus Prime. Now, it's what a lot of people call him, and he is called Combat Hero Optimus Prime now, but the original toy, which was supposed to be released in 1995, was based on the Hero Optimus Prime, the one with the air bellows that you shot, not the laser, but the other one that was a smaller truck. Very cool toy. I like it, and they were going to recolor it in this color scheme, but they did not. It's unreleased. There's a few prototypes out there. There might even be some that were released again. Apparently, some of these things ended up in the Hasbro employee store and people could buy them. Some of them ended up in Ohio, of all places. Who knows? But this guy is based on a toy that was not released generally, which is why he wasn't in the other video. By the way, Shadowstrip, no symbols. Just wanted to point that out. Whereas this one has a regular G1 Autobot symbol here. You can see on his arms he has G2 Autobot symbols. And he comes with a sword. So he is a repaint of the generations, I believe. I don't know if they call them Laser Optimus Prime, but he was one of the Optimus Primes at the time. And the sword is interesting because it can actually, I believe, be reconfigured for storage. But let's take a look at this 14-year-old version of Optimus Prime. Again, based on a G2 figure that did not come out. And he can't do a Jean-Claude Van Damme full toes up. Doesn't happen. There's kind of ankle swivels because there's a little bit of a ball joint here. I don't think that they really called them that at the time, but he could go into a more spread pose. Can't kick forward very much because it dies. Just keep that in mind when you're not skipping leg day and not be able to kick that high if you have too thick of thighs. So, you got to trim down other things. Can't kick very well that way. Side kick, even using both legs, not much. But he does bend at the knee a little bit. The wheels get in the way. Swiveling, that he does. Twisting at the waist. You kind of can a little bit back and forth, but can't go all the way around in robot mode. Arm can go all the way around. He does bend at the elbow. He can swivel. Arms can't really go out to the side much. There's smokestacks in the way. Hands can twist all the way around, and the head can turn all the way around. So we're talking about 2012 technology. And he's kind of SM all compared to some. I think he was considered a deluxe size. He's like 5.5 inches tall. Again, he came with a Jazz, which was kind of in G2-ish deco. And he does not have any air bellows or anything like that. He does have light piping that comes through the back of his head, makes his eyes red, which means he could have been considered a Nemesis Prime, kind of. But all right, let's put him into his vehicle mode, see how that works out. So there is Combat Hero Optimus in his vehicle mode, and he actually has something that you can attach a trailer to, not that he has a trailer. Let's take a look, roll test. Very nice. I have to say, I had a little trouble putting him in this mode because I hadn't transformed him in so long. I forgot exactly how, and yeah, took a bit. Oop, gotta fix his door here. Hate when that happens. But he does have G2 Autobot symbols on his doors, which is very cool. And I probably have him 99% properly transformed. So there you have it, another homage to a G2 Transformer we never got. 5.5 inches long. So there you have them, 5 G2 Transformers. And you're probably saying to yourself, well, Captain Kyle, sir, you may not call me sir, it depends on what you're feeling like. There are more. Yeah, that's why this is only the first video. There will be more coming soon. But before I can make that, and before we can end this video, I do want to again thank our sponsor for this video, DoyHacks. Again, they can go back to the original G2s and G1s and help you replace those stickers. Plus, they can enhance your Age of the Primes and Legacy and Combiner Wars and pretty much all the new lines with their amazing decals. Plus their armory, backdrops. You want to check them out at toyhacks.com. And these are fun, and Stormy's here just in time to say goodbye. And if you find these reviews fun, or cats fun, or both, then by all means feel free to subscribe. That'd be awesome. And while you are mulling over these G2 Transformer homages, let's check out some homages to actual G2s if you check out this video right over here. And we will see you next time. As always, have fun and good hunting.